Crypto crackheads and cryptillions, this is Tim, and you're about to get Timified. So today is Monday, March 8th, 2021. In this video, I'm going to essentially database this video as reference to what origin lines are, how to create them, why they're important, how to work with them, all that good stuff. And for a short-term time frame, though, just so people know what's going on with Bitcoin today, I will utilize that and mix it with current today Bitcoin price, because that's just killing two birds with one stone. All right, so anyway, the question came up in regard to a BEPRO video on the price analysis, and it was a great question. What are origin lines? So here's what they are. First off, BEPRO is a little too young to actually have origin lines. However, origin lines have to form at some point. And, you know, I have the thought that these could hold up for over a year. It's possible that they don't, but Bitcoins have held up for 10 plus years. So we'll cover a newer coin, BEPRO, and then we'll go to Bitcoin and see what it looks like on something that's been, you know, established for a lot of years, a decade. So take a look at the dark green lines. So one up here, one down here. Those green lines were made by connecting the previous high to the current high. So oftentimes the way price movement works is it creates a line, and bots will not allow, they simply, even if buyers are wanting to buy, I mean, a lot of times the exchanges bots, they have more money than retail buyers do, and they'll push the price down, period, and try to get people to scare sell, and they'll buy back lower, and then they'll drive back up to there, they'll sell again and create panic selling and all that. So or in Bitcoin and Ethereum, you do have more institutional traders who will take all like profits there. I mean, and so with that, since there are so many limit sell orders straddled there, it becomes a brick wall because so many people are selling there, and it takes too much buying power, too many people to hit market buy to push through all those, and they never get through them. It's like chipping away at a brick wall, you know. The thicker the wall is, the longer it takes to chip, and if your hand gets blistered or you get hungry or whatever, and you have to stop hitting it because you have to rest, that means price action goes back down. But if the wall is thin enough, you can get through it all in one hit, and then you pop through it. So the top end origin line is like that. I mean, it's a thick brick wall, and that's sort of how those come up. But for newer coins like this, there aren't any institutional buyers here. The reason would be, you know, people who are educated on it would be putting sell orders there, but it wouldn't be enough to create a brick wall. That actually might create enough liquidity to break through it, because especially if you're listening to my channel, you know, I talk about straddling orders, and, you know, your orders should go above as well as below, like they should. So it should actually create liquidity to bust through. But anyway, so origin lines here. So that's the top green line. The bottom green line, if I can really zoom in here, I mean, look, I simply just made a best fit line of all the wicks, you know, roughly whereabouts this line was. So this wick hit it right there, and even though it didn't perfectly touch here, I just tried to make a best fit line, and so look how it almost runs perfectly parallel. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, it is not a coincidence. And Bitcoins run parallel as well. So when I saw that happening with the two highs connected and all the support here making almost parallel lines, I mean, look how far out they go without touching. I mean, it would probably, you know, it would go out to the end of the year. Which means in a deep correction, there would be something that came down actually below it, which would make you adjust this a little bit down, so it would be parallel. So with BEPRO price, you know, throughout the year, after we get a huge pump, if you see it go below, you know, if you establish a lower end origin line and it goes below it, yo, that's probably a great time to snag some more. And for Bitcoin, it always has been. And actually, there's only been one there's only been one instance where it's ever gone below, and that's when we went from 14,000 crashed down to like 4,000, and it dipped below, and that was a once in a lifetime type of opportunity. Because the time before that, it crashed down to 3,000 in 2018, or no, it was 2019, January 2019. Even though you had a great run to 14,000, or great run to, let's see, which way should it is? Yeah, great run to 14,000, you still had to wait years until you broke all-time highs. So once in a lifetime opportunity, because that $14,000 run came all the way down, and then it was just straight to the moon from there. I mean, it was literally straight from 4,000 to almost 60,000. I mean, almost straight up. Or straight horizontal line, right? But anyway, so that's the top end range. Now, the middle range just gets all the price action. So I tried to figure out, okay, where was price action? And this is maybe 20-something days of price action. 6 days of price action is still here. So, yeah, 26 days of price action, and it perfectly fit. So roughly the bottom end and roughly the top end. And so the best fit lines, what do they run parallel to? They run parallel to the top and bottom. Is it a coincidence? Hell no, it's not a coincidence. So they are called trend lines for a reason, and that reason is it trends. And so what is the trend? Most price action, or at least for a certain period before it takes off, price will fill this out, and almost 100% of price action will be inside of there. So that is why in my previous video I said I'm pretty sure that BEPRO is going to come down here, and I think I was using the daily. So because it's a trend, and it's a trend because for a reason, because it should trend. So I think that price will probably come play with this yellow line. Is it coincidence that the yellow line is also parallel with it? No, it's not. This is a bull market, and things are moving in that direction. So like, this is how TA works. It's just math and patterns. That's it. And yeah, that's it. That's all it is. You don't emotionally buy. I mean, that's it. And it's probabilities. I would say math specifically, yeah, I would say arithmetic, statistics, two different forms of fields of math, and patterns. But anyway, so yeah, the probability of, it playing with this yellow line, and the yellow line essentially going horizontal here, because when price comes down to hit it, the yellow line will stop. It'll stop rising, right? So like it could go like this, and then kind of like I did in my other video, like this, maybe like that. And then, kind of ride out like this, and maybe start going up if price kind of starts hitting the top of the range here. So I think something like this will play out, and it actually might, if I had to actually guess, I think it would be more like this, because I think price would dip below it here a few times, which would then cause the slope to level off, and then it'll rise back above. And I think if I had to make an exact guess, and I think the likelihood of this happening is probably, out of all the scheme of things, like all the timeline of the trading universes, right? So anything that's 10% or higher is a huge chance. Like, that's big. Out of all the possibilities, going to 0, going to $5, whatever, anything in between, I think there's almost a 20% chance that it gets sandwiched. See this white line here, the trend line of the current triangle trend, and this will go away. So after it breaks out of here, I'm going to delete it. But anyway, I think it's going to get sandwiched between this yellow line, which starts getting more horizontal of a slope, but still a little positive. And I think price, you'll see small candles, and bam, and then it'll go up. And what might happen first is a big scare down to here, and then it'll go up, because bots, if they know the order book is full of way more buys and there's more buying pressure, they're going to want to take your money. Like, they'll crash it down to here, and then people kind of like a flood or an avalanche. It only takes a snowball to create an avalanche, and then people panic sell down to here, and then the bots buy back, and then the people who are more seasoned or who watch this channel know that that was a hell of a buy. That sell pressure will then, or that buy pressure will then make it skyrocket. So just watch out. That's almost as probable as what I think is the most probable, is it getting sandwiched and then skyrocketing. And you know, another possibility here is it goes straight up, it comes out, scares people, and then goes up. But anyway, so these are the origin lines here, and that's the purpose of them. And so the reason why I went through all that explanation is because you can see how the moving averages start to move with them, and then it sandwiches it. So see how this blue line, it crosses the white here? I think that's why I think it's so probable, because the trend lines are powerful. And you know, even if price tips down below here, I think it'll come back up and go bam, because that is where this blue line crosses with the white one. And so you play trend lines exactly like that, which is why I went a little more into price action here. So let's go to BTC. I like Bitfinexes, and that's where all my lines are. Let's go to the weekly. So this is the weekly candle, weekly time frame. Okay, so this goes all the way back to 2013. So look at the dark, so I have two dark lines. Forget about the neon green one and running through the middle. I can kind of explain that a little later. This neon green one is my guess at how the trend line or the origin lines are actually should be sloping like that, or like, even though they look like going, they maybe should, well, go over here. Even though they're going straight diagonal, I think maybe they should start leveling out in a truly logarithmic way. That's a logarithmic type of graph. But anyway, so that's what I was doing there. But anyway, the dark green one, the top one, was support back in 2013 when it had a huge crash. Crashed 72%, flash crash. And that wasn't the end of the cycle. It was just a flash crash. And then it skyrocketed. Like, this is the most insane run, I mean, in the history of any asset. Like, 1,500% in how many days? 147 days. Wow. God, how great would it have been to be in Bitcoin at $100? But anyway, or hell, in 2009 when it was under a penny. Ooh, when $100 would have gotten you like tens of thousands of them. Whew. That's why you have your Bitcoin multi-billionaires like Richard Hart, who had to leave the United States to keep his money. But anyway, so these trend lines back to 2013, it was support. Then, as you have your run of 2015 and 2016, see how this wick comes up and almost perfectly touches it, and this comes up to almost touch it, this wicks up to almost touch it. And I did prior to 2019, so I drew these lines back in like 2017, right? They've been here for quite a while because I was trying to figure out to where Bitcoin will fall. So these lines have been here a while, although I have adjusted this one up a tiny bit since then. It used to touch almost perfectly these, but anyway, you'll see why I moved it up here in a minute. So these lines, they go back and forth between being support and resistance, but regardless, so you know what support means is price is above it and it comes down to hit it and it pings off. Resistance means this is your origin line, that price comes up to hit it and it bounces up, hit it, bounces down, right? So resistance means it's the ceiling and support means it's the floor, like a trampoline. More like a trampoline. And so it's support here, then it becomes resistance. Well, after it's been resistance for so long, what the hell do you think it's going to turn into, since it changes back and forth? You know, think of it almost like the, like this is like super nerd. I don't think many of you think like this, but the magnetic field of the Earth, it flips every so many years, and it's a cyclical thing. There is no rhyme or reason to it, because that big ball of molten iron, in the middle of the Earth, plus all the gravitational effects of Jupiter, the Sun, the Moon. Like it's not a perfect cycle, but it flips. The poles literally flip for real, and it has. And people, scientists know because the ocean floor. The way the sand is in areas, it shows the flippings. But anyway, so this flips. So it was support, now it's resistance. But anyway, think of it like that. Like when you think of support resistance, it's the Earth's magnetic field switching. So then here it flipped. Price got above it. Well, what did the green line become? It became support. So, and then since it came up above it so long, what do you think it'll be? This green line will be if it was just support. It'll become resistance. So it wasn't support here, was it? And that's why price crashed so hard, because people who know what they're doing said to themselves, I am going to sell everything I have. If Bitcoin's price comes to kiss this line and it doesn't look strong, I'm selling everything. So the people who knew what they're doing probably crashed price to here. The rest of this is just everybody else who's clueless, who doesn't know what they're doing, panic selling. That's what this is. So institutional buyers and people who know what they're doing might have taken it all the way down to 5,600. But that's the small drop. So they probably moved it $1,000, maybe $2,000. Maybe they dropped it down here, maybe halfway. But the rest of it's panic selling from people who don't know what these lines are. So price dropped here for a reason. That's why. That's how important origin lines are. Like, crazy important, and that's why I actually was able to, according to TradingView and my account on there, I made the call that it would fall between on a specific day, and I was the first person to call it, and I was I ended up first person in the world, like who was on TradingView at least, but that's the most common crypto trading site. I think my username is Inferno, spelled weirdly, INFIRNO. I think it's Inferno24, I think is my name there. But anyway, I was the first person in the world on TradingView to say, hey, it's going to fall on this date. Yeah, so it's only 24 hours off, because I knew when it was going to hit it. And I knew that Bitcoin is weak. It was stuck under the weekly 21, right? This yellow line. If it's stuck under it, it's bearish, so it's going to fall. And it didn't ever have capitulation. It had to capitulate to end the cycle. Like, you can't have a bear market without, I guess you can. You can have double bottoms, Adam and Eve bottoms, stuff like that. I guess you could. What I just said is not true. But because crypto is so volatile, you're going to have capitulation, and it's going to be nasty. And like I said, the crypto crackhead and Cryptillion crew, we buy blood. So, would you buy blood here? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but don't spend all of your US dollar bags. Just buy a little here. If it keeps falling, buy a little more, or you can get technical and try to figure out when it will bottom out. And guess when it bottomed out? The other green line. Isn't that freaking crazy? Isn't that crazy how technical analysis works, right? So how did this other green line come about? Well, its origin, the origin was right here, support. So that's roughly where all these bounced around to. All right, so I just kind of made a rough best fit line, yeah, and that's where it hit. It came to hit perfectly. And then since this is the bottom, it is more support than resistance. But if price ever falls below it, just like the magnetic field flipping, it will become heavy resistance. If it was prior support for the whole life of Bitcoin, that's how much harder the resistance is going to be, like big time. So support almost the whole life of Bitcoin from 2009 to 2020. And then it crashed down below. And this is the only time in history that it's been below it. Look. It only wicked here for like 2 days. But here it had weeks. These are weekly candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks below it. This was one hell of a time to buy. So really, in bear market, if you had moved into stable coins and earning interest, which is a good idea, or got into HEX to compound your interest, a no-brainer way to buy back is either an origin line and or when you're under the 200, this orange line, the 200 EMA. If you're under the EMA and you want to buy it around, so the thin line is the 200 a simple moving average. So look how perfectly, look. And do you think it's a coincidence that 200 was crossing an origin line exactly when it fell down to it? No, it's just patterns and math just seems to work out, and that's why trading works, and that's why, you know, people get wrecked because they have no damn clue what they're doing. And we do. So people who know what they're doing, they're taking the money from gamblers. If you don't know this stuff, you are a gambler, and I am taking your money, and I love doing it. So know what this is. Like, tune into this channel, and the other two people I put in my description section, my mentors, and buy that book. It's down in there. Buy it. Because if you don't, I'm going to be taking your money the whole damn time. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it. And if you have friends in crypto, get them educated on this. Like, have them, you know, refer them to either me or my two mentors, have them buy that book so they know what they're doing. Because if you know you have friends in crypto and you don't know if they know this stuff, I'm going to be taking their money. And if you care anything, two shits about them, do you want me taking their money? No, you don't. You want them to be making money. Because they might have kids, you know, depending on your age, they might have kids. Do you want those kids, you know, do you want that person to get a divorce because he or she put all his or her money and refinanced the house without the spouse knowing? That crap happens. So if you want to, it does. I mean, it really does. Because people are gambling and it's addictive. So if you're using math and statistics, it's not gambling. And geometry. It's statistics, arithmetic, and geometry. All right, but anyway, so it's not a coincidence this crossed exactly here. So now, I mean, honestly, God, I really thought Bitcoin was going to come down here. And I knew it might not. I had an earlier video saying, hey, it's already found support at the origin line. Gosh. At this point, it doesn't look like it's going to come back down. Let me see. Let's check out the daily. RSI just crossed above the EMA. Well, if price closes a daily above 52,556, if it closes, not a wick like this. So see how the candle here closed at 52,000 almost exactly, and the wick went up to 52,500. So and see how this wicked past 52,500? It did it for a reason. To take people's money who are longing Bitcoin because they said, oh, it's rebounding, and I'm going to take along. Or people who longed it here successfully, it crashed it down quickly to cut into their earnings. But anyway, if price closes a daily candle above 52.5, closes, not wicks, it's going up. With a 90% likelihood. At this point, will that happen? This is the biggest signal. It kind of is making me lean yes. Gosh, this might scream right up to 80,000 people. I don't know. I think, so sometimes in Bitcoin, no trade is the best trade. I would be in no trade territory until we decide, until the price decides, am I closing above here or am I not? Yeah, this is a no trade zone. And to figure out if you want to get out and or short Bitcoin, which shorting Bitcoin in a bull market is not smart. Like, if you are trying to leverage trade in a bull market, you need to, I would suggest only leverage longs, and then get flat. Like, because Bitcoin corrects for a month at a time. So get flat, take your, put in stable coins, hold it in, go to DYDX, decentralized exchange, and earn like 40% interest on it while it corrects. So while Bitcoin's going down, you're earning 40%. You can, and then you take it out. You not only can buy more because Bitcoin's lower, but because you earn interest, now you can buy way more, right? So there's no sense in shorting. Like, in a bull, don't. If any of my viewers are shorting Bitcoin in a bull market, don't. And the reason I say don't is because the likelihood of you getting wrecked and not coming back to this beautiful space of crypto, which is going to change the world, the likelihood of you not coming back is very high if you're trying to short. So, and honestly, if you haven't traded before and successfully already had a system that worked for you profitably, earned like you broke even or better than break even for 6 whole months, not 2 weeks. A jackass, or a donkey, technically a jackass, a donkey can make money in a bull market, right? For 2 weeks, or even, but if you're flipping back between longs and shorts, don't be doing that. But anyway, so yeah, Bitcoin, I don't know, that's a pretty aggressive move off of it. And the 4-hour 200 is like a beautiful play for corrections. So it's often aligning with, I think it aligns with the daily 21. So let's see if this crossed down here, and if the daily 21 was right about where the origin line is, or just, let's see here, between 43.8 and 45. No, it's way above. So so it is at 43. It's around 45, and that's 47. Yeah, so it's actually a little above. That means price moved really fast up. That's a pretty aggressive move up. Yeah, this is a no play zone. I would still say it's going down. If somebody forced me to guess, I would say it's going to hit this white line. But I would not be confident in that guess, which is why I'm saying this is no play zone. And so sometimes no trade is the best trade for Bitcoin. No trade is the best trade right now by far. But so if you see it close a daily above that, or you don't even have to see it, just set. If you play around with leverage, you can just start making longs here. You can buy the future. You buy breakouts, and you can be sleeping when it's busting through. Because people always want to long when it's going down and catch the bottom. You don't do that. You're gonna lose all your money doing that. You buy momentum, long momentum, or long a reasonable trend line. If you wanted to shorting around here would have been a good idea. And I actually did. I got stopped out really fast, and I didn't try it a second time. Which goes to say, shorting Bitcoin in a bull market stupid, because it got a short squeeze here. So it was too obvious, and the exchanges knew that. I should have known that. I should have put my shorts higher. I was an idiot, but I was betting that the trend, that origin line's so strong, it's gonna ping right off of it. So I put my orders right there, and I didn't even straddle them. I actually straddled low, because I thought if anything, it was gonna act like two magnets, north and north poles together. I thought it was gonna actually push it down before it got there, but this is the exchanges. So this is just the exchanges taking people's money like mine. Now, did they get much of my money? No, because I put a limit. I put a stop. I put a stop right above. I think I was only playing with. I don't. Since I knew it is stupid to short Bitcoin in a bull market, I only played around with. I don't know, maybe like $150 just to practice, because right now the money is in smalls. It's not with. It's not with Bitcoin or Cardano. But anyway, this is 50-50. So these are the origin lines. So origin lines are really cool too, because you can figure out where the next market top will be and why. Well, what happened here? Two highs connected. When it crossed the green origin line, what did it do? It came back below it. And then it charged up to the trend line, which that trend line did not exist at that point, obviously, but now it has. So what's happening? It charged above it, came back down, and it did not go below it, though. So that's more a reason why it might. God, it sure as hell doesn't look like it's going to, though. Gosh, on the weekly, it looks like it is going. It looks like it's going to pop up, but I would say, yeah, no trade zone. Anyway, come down to hit it. And it's going to go The chance of it hitting in December, the chance of Bitcoin hitting almost just shy of 300,000, so somewhere between 200 to 300,000 for Bitcoin to hit that range this year is extremely high likelihood. Very high. I would say close to 50% or higher. Like this literally might be an 80% chance. I don't know if it's that high. I actually think it's more likely that it crosses above it than doesn't meet it. I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin with all the institutional money and people like Elon marketing for it essentially with his tweets. And the potential of a short squeeze, to come way up here, this crap could hit $500,000 in a short squeeze easily, because look how much small of a movement that is on this logarithmic chart. A short squeeze could drive this up easily to 400,000. So actually, I would change my answer. Since this is the first time this white trend line has existed, the chance of a short squeeze happening just like it happened here, right there. Let's see how much percentage it went above it. Almost 10%. $326,000. So I think it's going to go somewhere between. I actually think it's more likely to hit 320,000 than it is to stop at 200,000, which 200,000 is right here. I think it's more likely to hit just over 300,000 than it is hit to under 200. So that's my guess. And this is all based off of origin lines, right? So even though I'm talking about price action today, Bitcoin, and when you're looking at this video in the future and you don't care about Bitcoin's price a year ago or 18 months ago or 5 days ago, it doesn't matter. But it's important to do this live so you can see how live price action plays with it. I mean, that's the whole point, because you need to look at how price has played with it to figure out how it will play with it. So let's say that during a bull or a bear market comes all the way down here, crashes, kind of lets this, so it won't crash all the way down to here quickly. What it'll do is it'll go something like this. It'll go a whole year, so that was a whole year almost to the date. It'll go almost a whole year, so it's to this other green line, I think, yeah. It'll go like this for a long time and then capitulate down to 80,000. So from 300,000 to 80,000. So if you want to try to catch a bottom, if you're cashed out or something, once you see Bitcoin falling and you get into stable coins or something, don't just write it down, folks, and watch your money go. Put in buy orders around 80,000 is probably a wise move. If Bitcoin turns into bear market, we might have like a double thing where it goes bam and then up to here, like to 500,000. And that would be similar to what it did here. Crashed down, then went up one more time. Over 127 days or whatever that was. So that's origin lines. That's what they mean, and you should, your macro decisions, and sometimes they turn micro, like right now they're micro decisions if they're close to it. So that's how you play origin lines, and you can set them up. Crypto crackheads and cryptillions, you just got timified. We'll catch you later.